I do sometimes choose to work with people who are not professionals.
Yes.
And this is also something we just had a discussion about. Is it about the community, or is it about the fact that you work with people who are not used to work in theater, who maybe are also not used to work with art as a form to communicate? So for me it's more about that. Yes, I did a project like that before in Malparthuis. It's a little theater with some Bogaerts in Belgium, and it was in a youth prison. It was only 3 weeks. And I wasn't there, the director, so I helped. I was also there. I assisted actually somebody else who was directing. And I found it very heavy, and I was shocked by the fact that I think we didn't take our responsibility very well, because the organization we had, the people who did it, were too young and too unaware to carry such a heavy project. You ask people to join in a project. You ask people to be personal. You waken up specific emotions or thoughts, sentiments. You create a group. You ask people to be together. So you create also conflict. So when you come in such a place, there's happening a lot, and you have to be aware of that, and you have to know why you do it, and you also have to know where it's positive and where it's negative, or where it's difficult and where it's beautiful. And in the prison, people stop dreaming. This is what I experienced. They stop dreaming because it's difficult to dream, because you cannot take your dream anywhere. So they block emotions, and they block specific personal questions, or they try not to think about it. And then if you awake it, you have to be able to
their dreams again.
No, yeah, or the difficulties of not coming to your dreams. There was a difference in starting up the project, because I really didn't know what a prison is like, how it is to be there, what it is for me to be there, to work there, and especially, of course, what it is for the prisoners to be there. So then I decided to start up Total Blank.
Yeah. To discover this.
And to discover. So I had put, of course, there was sort of audition, or I talked with lots of prisoners, and I told them that it was going to be very personal, and if they wanted to do that or not. And so so they could also choose if they wanted to do it. And so then in the end there was a group of 7 I decided to work with. And then I decided that I would work with them for 3 weeks. And then after the 3 weeks, I would decide what the form of the performance would be. Would it be stories? Would it be dance? Would it be this? Or would it? And actually, after these 3 weeks, we just went on researching. So there was never a real break that now this is going to be. Then in my processes, it always slowly grows to the end. Right. So I don't start with an idea about the form. So it is something that comes up during the process, that it has to be simple images, and that they refer also to the life they have there, which are also very simple images. They sit in the cell, they sit on the chair, they lay on the bed, they eat. There is not much difference. So then from there I also choose to take that forms that were brought up by them, and also by the context and the situation of the prison. They first made a map of their cell, little, and then they also made a drawing of, so this was the place where they do not like to be, and then I also asked them to make a drawing of a place where they do like to be, and we spoke a lot about these 2 differences. And then I asked them to make the drawing of the cell through ware grootte.
Yeah,
real size on the stage, and the stage was very little. And then I asked them to put the chair in this drawing, the way it also stands in the cell, and to sit on it. It's also important that the challenge is big. I have the feeling that I worked
for you, but also
for me, but then also for them. I have the feeling if I wouldn't have been so tough on them also, and demanding and challenging, then they would have gone. They would have left, because they didn't come for the hobby club. They didn't know where. They maybe also didn't really understand sometimes what I asked of them. But they trusted me. So and that is for me also. It can be there. You can trust. You can have the feeling that you are dealing with something important, and at the same time you cannot understand it. For example, there was one of the prisoners, Erik. He was very, very nice and willing and there, but sometimes then he asked me, this is also in the documentary, he asked me, so if I understand it well, we're going to do theater without words. And then I say, yes, it's going to be a silent life. And then he says, yes, but I don't know if I dare to show that. And he also says, if I would see it on television, I would zap. So he questions the form. Yeah. Which of course is good, because then you have an artistic conversation one way or another.
So you had a dialogue.
We had a dialogue about this, and then I said, yes, but we are going to do it, and you have to.
That was a dialogue? You said, but we are going to do it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, of course, but my dialogue is a dialogue. It of course takes longer, but I am not at all afraid to be the director, and I think it's needed in this kind of project. This is the goal. So for me, it's not the goal working with these people, empowering them by... of course, this all happens, yes. But it's not the reason I do it. The reason I do it is to make a performance where I, together with the makers, and also the prisoners, who are also the makers, the actors, that we can tell something we think need to be told to this public. But during the process, there were people who were doubting and were not sure. But then, if you have the first performance and there is an applause that takes like, I don't know how long, and awakes all the prisoners in the whole prison, and they're all proud of what happens, although they couldn't see it. And this 7 tough men, they're standing crying in the dressing room because they're totally shocked of this overwhelming attention they got, and they got. Yeah. Then the process is where it has to be, and they cannot know that. Prisoners, I also worked with 4 bewakers. And also the relationship between them was very important. And there were also many people working in the prison watching the show, and they were so much touched by the way they could look at them now and they looked at them before, yes. So differently. Okay. So there I also had the feeling that it changed a lot. I think it was a very important project. I think for everybody, it empowered them. I'm sure it did. I even think one of the guys is out of the prison because of the project now. So I do think that it was a very, very important project. You feel so much responsibility. You feel that you open up so many wounds and so many feelings and stories and thoughts, and there I feel big responsibility. It is also a question if you are allowed to do it. If you're allowed to open up these people, if you're allowed to love them and to make them love you and each other, and then go away again. So you know that you open up, feeling, and you leave. And is the black hole they fall in then bigger than the black hole they were in already? We work 2 months together every day, and we make something that communicates to the public. Not through sentiment or medelijden or whatever, but through the art form. About, is it art using community or is it community using art? And it's of course the best if it uses both, or if it works, if it needs both. Maybe we should not...